My name is Chris Hamilton. I'm a senior here at Keene State, and I study criminal justice and safety.
My name is Melissa Langell. I'm a licensed mental health counselor and also a licensed alcohol and drug counselor. On campus, I am a member of the senior staff at the Counseling Center and also the Alcohol and Other Drug Education and Prevention Coordinator. And I've also taught as an adjunct faculty member in the Public Health Department for about 10 years.
My name is Kathy Moda. I am the Center Director here at Keene Serenity Center in Keene, New Hampshire.
Drug addiction is the feeling necessity, both mental and physical, for substances after doing them for a long period of time.
The definition of drug addiction is when somebody is using drugs or alcohol to an extent where it's becoming maladaptive and really negatively impacting their lives, their well-being, their overall health. And oftentimes it means that somebody is continuing to use despite really significant negative consequences.
So the definition of drug addiction can be a wide definition. It's something that's going to affect who you are. Attitude changes, health changes, someone who's in the throes of substance use disorder may start to lose weight. You may start to notice like different health changes, skin changes, teeth changes. They feel like they can't live without the substance. They have to continue taking the substance, and those could be alcohol, heroin, marijuana, methamphetamines, cocaine, in order to survive. And that's where that addiction really stems from, is that they need it to continue throughout their day, and it's going to affect their friends, their family, and their employment.
I think that's where college is kind of where it begins, but obviously that's where you learn that doing the substance is okay, and that you think it's whatever, I'll stop after I graduate. But people don't get what that feeling of necessity feels like. It's an urge. It's kind of like you need to do it or you're going to die without it. And people often get like that, which also sometimes gets so bad it can be life-threatening. So I think as long as people can understand that I can do certain things at college, as long as they do it in a healthy way, they will be okay after graduation. But I think the problem starts here and just continues to grow throughout their lifetime. A lot of students feel like they can't go talk to somebody because they're going to get in trouble. And I know that there's a responsibility on the college to tell their parents or their doctors, hey, your son or daughter is very, addicted on this heavy substance and they need help. But also that turns a lot of people off from getting the help that they need. So I feel like there should be a choice. We can try helping you, but if it gets to a point where you need serious help, you have to tell your parents or just whoever. I think that there needs to be a common understanding and respect between someone else's privacy, especially when they're an adult. Just because they're away from home, they need to learn how to be able to ask for help.
It's a great question. So I think that we could always use more support. Addiction is one of those fields that because there's so much stigma attached to it, that there tends to never be enough support, and there's a lot of misinformation and miseducation around what addiction means. So I think particularly on any college campus, there's this idea that something's either like an addiction or it's not. And the truth is that when you look at some problematic use, it doesn't necessarily matter if it's the label of addiction. Like somebody can die from alcohol poisoning first time they drink. And so I think that sometimes we can get really focused on this idea about supports around addiction, and that's very important, but it's more complicated than that. I think at Keene State, in the somewhat short time that I've been at the Counseling Center, I've been really impressed with the amount of people on this campus that want to help, that genuinely are curious, and faculty and staff and students that want to help, that want to learn more and know more and want to figure out how to help a student that's in their class that's struggling. And one of the biggest things that you can do is just not be afraid to talk about it, to ask people, to have each other's backs, to be compassionate, to be curious, those type of things. When you see somebody struggling, I think sometimes we don't want to offend somebody, and so we don't want to say hey, that's the third time that you've gotten drunk and puked on my shoes. like, you know, not like I'm worried about you. And I think we need to have those conversations more. I think outside of college, some of the similar things apply. And it doesn't have to be, there's this idea, again, with drugs and alcohol, that you have to be in this incredibly desperate state to get help. And that's not true. And getting help doesn't mean that you're going to fit this label of addiction. Getting help means that you're using a coping skill too much and that you need some help dialing it back and becoming more well-rounded.
So substance use with college students, I think it's a big concern. You know, college students are in a new environment, maybe not a whole lot of connections. They're experiencing new things in their lives, and some of that can involve substance use. I personally did know somebody who was in their going through substance use disorder through their 20s, and it started off just a simple party. Have some Vicodin, have this, let's do a line of cocaine, and then it kind of started to spiral. And you know, I did my best to try to support and offer assistance and help. Because making them know that they're not alone and that there are resources out there is really important, so that they know that they can have the help that they need if they choose to take it. I think it's important for college students to kind of understand the severity of it, that, you know, going to parties or being with friends, it all seems like fun, having a good time, trying new things, experimenting, can be great. However, there needs to be an understanding that what comes along with that sometimes, and it can happen to anybody. It's not a specific population of people that become addicted to substance use. It can, and you know, my friend, it was that same mentality. It was that mentality of like, nah, I'm okay, I'm fine, I'm good. I'm just gonna, you know, have some cocaine at this party, and it's gonna be great. Until it kind of blew up into a full-blown heroin and cocaine addiction. And unfortunately, he didn't access the help that was needed because he felt like he had it under control. So really being able to reach out and access those resources, like there's nothing to be ashamed of. There's nothing wrong with having a substance use disorder. It's just an illness, and people need to be able to have those resources and look for help and ask for help when it's needed. Because if not, the end result is just not all that great.
I have used some drugs and alcohol in the past. You know, being a licensed drug and alcohol counselor, there's a lot of different stakes for like using illegal drugs. So if I was using illegal drugs, like first of all, it would impact my work, but also I could lose my license, and it would be hard for me to authentically help people, I think. I haven't used any illegal drugs in like maybe 20 years. But I think in my early 20s probably is when I experimented with that the most.
So I actually spent some time at Keene State College, briefly. I think I made it to my second year. And during that time, classes weren't a priority for me. I spent a lot of time smoking marijuana, and I spent a lot of time drinking an excessive amount of alcohol. I ended up not being able to finish out Keene State because of that. So it's definitely an experience that I'm thankful for, because it kind of showed me that I wasn't in a place to be here full-time on campus by myself. The maturity level was just not there. So I was able to kind of go home and regroup and figure out what direction I needed to go in, because if I stayed, it just wouldn't have been a great situation for me.
I wouldn't say necessarily to any drug, but just to more activities and things I was doing. It's kind of an unhealthy lifestyle of mine. And I think kind of internalizing it and kind of thinking more deeply about, is this really the best action for me? And then considering my options, what else can I be doing with my time, was a lot better way of dealing with it than kind of just like, oh, I'll stop next week, or I'll stop tomorrow, or I'll make these small little goals towards it. Well, it works for some people, it doesn't work for me. I can just have to drop it and have to tell myself that this is something I can beat and something that I can just drop cold turkey. To anybody who thinks that they're struggling or knows someone that's struggling with addiction, just know that there are resources for you. There's a lot on campus and a lot off campus that you can find too. And the best thing you do for someone who you think is struggling is talk to them about it. Even if it feels awkward or you feel like they're getting mad at you, the best thing to do is do something. The worst thing to do is to do nothing at all.
So if you're a person within the town of Keene, New Hampshire, come to the center. Just come and have a conversation with us. You don't have to be a person that's knee-deep in substance use disorder. If you have any questions or you're wondering about some of the services that we have here or how to move forward in a situation, just feel free to give us a call, 603-283-5015, or pop by. We're open from the hours of 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. And we always have coaches here willing to talk to anybody. If you are in the state of New Hampshire and not in Keene, you can access newhampshiretreatment.org, which will put you in contact with any type of rehab facility, inpatient, outpatient, residential, and they'll put you in contact with any counseling services you need, LADAX, MLADAX, whatever your needs are within the state of New Hampshire. That website will guide you to where you need to go.